form during this particular week of competition. And Holly Nixon of Ireland has looked extremely good here all this week in Eton. 500 metres gone, and it is Holly Nixon of Ireland who's leading the field. And like so many other Irish women and men born almost exactly 9 months after St Patrick's Day at the beginning of December, she's turns 18 later on this year, but ahead of one or two older scullers than she, and has about a half a length advantage at the moment over the Japanese sculler in the lane next to Asaka Kibara. Then in third place at the moment, it's the Latvian sculler Gulbe with Coletti of Italy in fourth. Coletti was fourth at the inaugural Youth Olympics in Singapore last year, second last year, a silver medalist therefore in the WRJC in the Czech Republic in the double, and was in fact also a veteran of the World Rowing Junior Championships in Brive in 2009, where she finished sixth. Here this week, though, she's had to come through the hard way to get to this stage of competition, to the semi-final, had to come through the reps, and that's why she's on one of the outside lanes, because that route through the repechage puts one then out on the outside lanes. Holly Nixon of Ireland, part of a very small group only of athletes that have made the trip across the Irish Sea, but a very good performance by her in the heats. And here she is clearly leading the semi-final of the sculls as well. At the moment, behind her, though, nothing to choose really between Japan, Latvia and Italy. And then about a length down on that particular trio, Boncheva of Bulgaria. And quite a way back at the back of the field, Evelyn Pilleman of Belgium. She too was at the inaugural Youth Olympics in Singapore, finished 16th there. So quite a way behind Coletti, over on the other side of the world in that race in Singapore. We're now almost halfway through this race. There is a bit of a ripple on the water now. That can occasionally cause one or two nervous moments for some scullers, particularly if they clip a buoy, as one or two crews have done during this week, but no sign of that at all in this race. And the very tall figure of Holly Nixon still working it through as she reaches the first of the many, many volunteers' cars that are parked down on the meadow here, and spectators as well. Great to see such a crowd of people here as a result, and again a chance to say a big thank you to all the many, many volunteers, some of whom have had their cars parked there for many hours now, since the early hours of this morning. And a big thank you to all of you who make this kind of event possible, not least, of course, to our drivers in the commentary cars, and not just the men and women in blue, but of course the many other helpers and technicians who wear other colours of equipment. Thank you very much indeed. While I'm giving that a little vote of thanks, the picture has changed on the water. I was talking about people in blue. Well, here comes Elena Coletti of Italy, just short of 1250. She suddenly looks as if she's woken up to the fact that you have to be amongst the first three if you want a chance of a medal tomorrow. And she's now moving through into second position. The Italian sculler here on lane 6, closest to the grandstand side. The Latvian sculler keeps on looking across to her to see what exactly is going on, but Ilse Gulbe of Latvia well able to go with the Italian pace. Ireland still in the lead, clear water advantage at the head of the field. Then that very closely matched combination of Italy and Latvia, and the Japanese sculler now slipping back a bit off that pace into fourth place. Bulgaria fifth, and Belgium in sixth. Now, sculling is a very popular way into the sport, and in a lot of clubs and schools. For example, here at Eton College, that's a very famous centre of rowing as part of the public school system rather than the club system. Sculls and the mastery of this single boat on one's own, absolutely essential for further progress in the team boats as well. In the single, you're absolutely responsible for everything you do yourself. When it goes well, it was you. When it goes badly, it was you as well. And these scullers have to keep their boat straight. They have to keep the pace on. They're responsible for absolutely everything. There's no one else in the crew to rely on. If one has a bit of a weak moment halfway down the course, there's no cocks to steer you. And if you're out in the middle lanes, you can't hear your coach either. So a lot of determination, a lot of concentration required of these scullers, and mastery of a single scull, part of becoming a fully rounded oarsman or woman, whether you come through the club route or the school route, or start as Alison Mowbray did at university, or later on in life. Rowing really a sport for life. One can come in at any age. We get a lot of people coming to us in the club, for example, have been told by their doctor to come to us, perhaps sometimes even after a first bypass operation, and it never stops. Any time between the age of about 10 and 70 is a great time to start rowing and keep on going. Way past the age at which people stop playing football or doing strange things like that. 250 metres to go to the line, and it's still the Irish scully, Holly Nixon. She's led from a very early stage, really stamped her authority on this semi-final of the women's sculls. Alessia of Italy, well, she's had a bit of a tug and a shove battle alongside the Latvian sculler. It doesn't look nearly as smooth and as sweetly flowing as we've seen in some of the other sculling boats here this weekend, but the boat is moving fast enough for a final slot for her, and Gunda of Latvia has been content to stay alongside. She's now just raising her rate, striking a little bit more by just whisking those hands a touch faster around the turn, but in splendid isolation, as you can see on the big screen. The camera's focused just on the green and white of Ireland. Holly Nixon leads this field home. A big hand for all these scullers, though, please, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're in the fresh sandwiches tent or in the grandstand or standing anywhere where it's around 2 kilometres. It's a long, long way in a single scull, I can assure you. And Holly Nixon will be glad now as she crosses the line in first place to have completed those 2 kilometres. Then Latvia in second. The third qualifier for the A final is Italy.
Great race for Holly Nixon of Ireland to finish first.